Hi guys, and welcome back to the Law of Attraction life coaching podcast. My name is Laura, and if you haven't been here before, I am a life coach, an author and a lecturer, and I coach in Bristol and the surrounding areas, and I also run a monthly meetup group as well, which you can access via the meetup app, and I'll leave all links and things in the bottom, and if I can put in some cards at the top, I'll try and do that for you as well, so it's easier for you to access. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about a psychological premise called the drama triangle. And this is something that you all need to be aware of because actually everybody gets involved in it and it causes a huge array of problems in people's lives. And so being aware of something allows you to move away from it and actually allows you to instigate and install better ideas and premises in your life to stop you from getting caught up in typical psychological, processes that people tend to deal with on a daily basis. So the drama triangle is an ideology that was created by Stephen Cartman, and Stephen Cartman was a student of Eric Berne, who's the daddy of transactional analysis. Now, transactional analysis talks about states in which people talk to each other. So the transaction analysis, where you're analysing something. And what it states is that the way that people talk to each other, we tend to come from different kind of ideas and feelings, and some of these could be parent to child transaction state, from adult to child transaction states, and the way that we change the way that we speak to each other actually changes the reaction you're probably going to get. So if you're a teacher like me, for instance, sometimes we can come home and we can talk to our partners as if we're still talking to our students. And so this comes from an adult to a child transactional state, which for our partners really grinds their gears. So being aware of these kind of things are really important. Now, Stephen Cartman was a student of Eric Berne, who created the transactional analysis ideology. And what Stephen Cartman decided to come up with was this thing that he called the drama triangle. And I'll insert a picture here so you can have a look at it. The drama triangle is about how arguments, issues, problems can arise, and actually how with a problem people tend to fall into reactions to the problem. So one corner of the drama triangle is the persecutor, one corner of the triangle is the victim, and the other corner of the triangle is the rescuer. If you imagine this, you are walking down the street and you see an old lady getting mugged, okay? The old lady is the victim, the mugger is the persecutor, and you can or cannot react to be the rescuer. Now, there's no connotations put upon who's the better, who's the worst, there's none of that, okay? Obviously in a mugging state, the mugger's not a very nice person. But when we look at the drama triangle is something that's used in all walks of life. And it's very common to find these things happening in family homes. So at that stage, when you see this little old lady getting mugged, you have the opportunity to step in as the rescuer or not. Now, you step in as a rescuer in a very clear-cut situation like a mugging, you're probably going to come out as the wonder person, the Superman or Superwoman of the moment who's come in and rescued this poor old granny of this very clear persecutor and a very clear, nasty person. Now, the problem is this drama triangle crops up over and over and over again in our lives, and in not such direct manner that we can differentiate very clearly by whom is the persecutor, who's the victim, and who the rescuer should be. And actually, psychologically, in terms in the family home, these people can swap between these states quite often. So I'll give you another example that's not so clear. You have a child and the child wants to go out to a party, and the father is saying, no, you're not allowed to go to the party, you're too young, I don't think that's right. And the child is saying, oh, but dad, you're the worst dad ever, I can't believe it, you're so horrible to me, I hate you. And mum comes in, what's going on, you two? Why are you crying? What are you doing to our child? So mum comes in as the rescuer. She sees the child as the clear victim because the child is displaying upset, crying, plaintive moaning towards the father. Why is he so mean? Why is he so horrible? When you step into this situation, you just catch the end of it. Yes, the father looks like the persecutor. The child looks like the victim. So the mother steps in. And the mother suddenly becomes the rescuer of the child. Now, this child then has become a victim of their circumstance. And so the mother's taken the power away from the child. And you know what I think about victimhood. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go and watch my podcast called The Crown of Victimhood. It is some tough talk. If you're not ready for it, don't go watch it. But if you've got some big cojones and you're ready to change your life, actually go and watch that one, because this will give you some really sort of tough talk, which sometimes you really need to hear when you're in the victim mode. But the mum comes in, she takes away the power from the child becomes very, very childlike, no matter how old they are, 15, 16, they're the baby again. And the mother takes the power away from the child. The child has no power left anymore to fix this situation, and it becomes a tete-a-tete to the mother and the father, where the mother is coming in and trying to rescue the child from this persecutive father, who then becomes very angry because he's not a persecutor. He is simply trying to discipline and keep his child safe. And so what happens then is the persecutor may then suddenly become the victim, and the triangle shifts. So the mother now becomes the persecutor. She's swept in as this great grandiose rescuer. She has picked out her husband, the father, as this horrible, horrendous, evil person who must be stopped. And the child is the onlooker. The child becomes the victim of the situation, and the mother puts her big foot in it. The mother comes along, starts having a go at the father, and the father then becomes the victim. And then the child, all of a sudden, will probably become the rescuer. Okay? The mother has switched. She is now the persecutor, the father's the victim, and the child is the onlooker, who then becomes the rescuer. The child comes in, Mum, why are you always attacking Dad? Why do you always have to be that way? Why are you always saying this? You're mean, you're nasty. Or vice versa, she will start to attack, or the child will start to attack the mother. Mum, why are you always like this? Dad, why are you always having a go at me? And then there's a very difficult sort of situation where the mother and the father have gone head to head, and actually they're supposed to be a team. You as parents are always the team. The team started, the family started as mum and dad falling in love. Now the problem is that this drama triangle often takes over, and mothers often take on the father. It's very common. And they do that because mothers are the caring ones. They see that the fathers are too hard on the kids, they're too mean, they're too nasty, they have to be the soft, and it acts as a balancing act, which is great, but sometimes the balancing act can go a little too far, and actually the mother takes on the father too often in protection of the child, when actually there's no need to. The father was trying to do his best, and if the mother had come on as part of the team and she was like, darling, what's going on here? Why is our child upset? What's happening? And talk to the father as an equal, which is where the transactional states comes in, because when you talk about transactional analysis, the father was the adult and the child was the child. The father looked to be the persecutor and the child looked to be the victim. Then the mother came in and she swept in being the parent role and turned her husband into the child role. And so the father has no hope but to be angry and to be disappointed in his wife, because she's spoken to him with disrespect, she's behaved towards him with disrespect, and she's broken the team down. Important part of parenting. Super important part of parenting. You two always have to be a team. The children are incredibly manipulative, and if they recognize that the drama triangle can happen over and over and over again and it's helpful towards them to get what they want, it's not that children are mean and maleficent and trying to do things against your will, but they are resourceful, and if they see a resource there, they will have a resource, because children don't have power of their own. They can't decide where the family moves to. They can't decide where the family lives. They can't decide what the family eats. They can't decide where the family goes on holiday. They have no power. They are at your will. And so during their lives, they will always seek to find ways that they can readdress that power imbalance. And so if they can use the drama triangle towards their advantage, they certainly will. This is why parents must always be the team. Remember, there would be no family if it weren't for your original pairing. There would be no family if it weren't for your original team being so good. So don't ever let your kids come and put asunder what you've got, because even as much as you think that the important thing is the children, the important thing is you two, because without you two, there would be nothing for the children. It's backward thinking, but it's very important. So very, very important is that you ensure that when you start to see somebody being persecuted in this drama triangle, you think very carefully about what it is that you're going to do. Are you going to swoop in and be the rescuer? Are you then going to create this catch-22 where you then become the persecutor, the victim has to become the rescuer of their rescuer, and vice versa, and the issue goes on? Or are you going to think very laterally about this? And the way to deal with this laterally is actually a thing called the empowerment dynamic. So the empowerment dynamic is a triangle that sits directly underneath the victim triangle, or the drama triangle. And this empowerment dynamic is something where we look at changing the roles to be more positive, okay? So the roles of these look to be the coach, the challenger, and the creator. And this is something that I do with my clients. So my clients come to me, obviously I'm the coach in this one, but I'm also the challenger a lot of the time. Now my clients come as the creator. They're the creator of the things that they'd like to create in their own lives, of the approaches that they'd like to use, all of the things that are really important. And so my clients come to me and I often challenge them. I see that their habits are stagnant, that their behavior, the way that they treat themselves are inappropriate, and I challenge that. Or they are very much in the victim mode and feeling like everybody else is out to persecute them, and I challenge that thought pattern, which can be quite uncomfortable at times. But it's very important. It's a super important part of it. So I challenge them, but I'm also the coach, and I'm doing these two parts of this triangle, you know, the bottom part, and they're up here being the creator. And these two pieces manage to support the top. And what's important to move out of this victim triangle, so if we were saying to take about the child who wanted to go out and the father is saying no, the mother comes in to rescue this crying child from the horrendous evil father that has tried to protect them from not going to a party that's inappropriate for them, and the mother could come in and the mother could attempt to be the coach. So the father is the challenger, the child is the creator, and the mother could come in being the coach instead of the rescuer. And the beauty of having a coach, which is so important, which is why I do what I do as a coach rather than going forward to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist helping people one-on-one in the NHS, as is important and as a heralded job that is, I can do a lot more as a coach. I can say a lot more as a coach because I'm not bound by the same regulations as psychiatrists and psychologists are bound by. And so what I can do is ensure that I am facilitating you to do and be the best that you can be. And you can do this too. So when you step in and you see this paradigm of the victim and the persecutor, you can turn that round and you can make that person the challenger and the creator instead. And you can become the coach and you can coach the creator how to move through this issue through good technique, like open communication, like empathy, like trying to understand the other person's position. Because in understanding others, this is where you acquire the ability to understand your way of dealing with things, understand your reaction, and also understand how to forgive. And forgiveness is so important. In the drama triangle, the mother comes in and she is angry and aggressive towards the father, and she holds the child behind her and to protect this child from the father's evil will. There is no good that is going to come from that other than hackles raised and people being very, very angry at each other. And the child feeling really as if not so much that it's won the case and has managed to set mum on dad, but actually the fact that the home that they live in is disjointed and that the rules that are set for them are bendy. And kids, among anything else, need love and boundaries. And if you're not setting your children boundaries, then good bloody luck, because your child is going to be an unsocialized and antisocial little bugger by the time it becomes a teenager. And you're the one who's going to have to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, society's going to have to deal with it. And either way, it's going to harm you and it's going to harm your child. Children need boundaries, and they need very clear boundaries. If you say something, you have to stick to it. And so falling into this predatory almost cycle that everybody goes into psychologically, suggesting that one of you is the persecutor and one of you must be the victim. Ugh, you're doing an injustice to your child, you're doing an injustice to your partner, and you're doing an injustice to yourself. The most important thing when you see this parameter happening is communication, and is not to come in and put your size 10 boot right in your partner's face or whomever you're apparently rescuing. And you're also doing an injustice to the victim, because you come in and you take their power away, and so they can't fix it, they need you to fix it. And then what are they going to do if they face this situation again? What if the child in the aforesaid example comes up against this issue at some point when they're later in their work life? They can hardly call their mother and say, "Mum, you have to come round. My boss is saying I'm not allowed to have the day off." So when you become the coach and you allow the victim to become the creator and the persecutor to become the challenger, it turns this model on its head to become something very positive, where actually you're coaching the victim, you're coaching the creator to actually create something better. And so this is where you start to teach your child to bargain with people, to give ideas, or to be able to permeate the mind of the challenger to give reason as to why they should allow them, which is very, very important skills, to be able to state one's case and back it up with good reason. Now, if you come in and rescue the child, they don't learn that strategy. And you also bugger up your relationship with your partner because of your, holier than thou attitude of coming in and, "Oh, rescue, darling, I'm fabulous, don't you worry, mummy's here," or whomever you are. So, super important, super, super important. And this drama triangle is ever ongoing. And the most important thing is to be aware of it. To become aware of it means that you can change it. If you see this dynamic happening, don't come in as the rescuer and take the opportunity away from the person who apparently feels the victim to rescue themselves. You are not Prince Charming, and whomever the persecutor is not some great evil dragon that must be slayed. There's very rarely opportunities like that. And you won't feel good. Actually, if you keep doing this, you'll end up being a martyr. And nobody likes a martyr. Nobody likes being the martyr. The martyr's always the one that bloody gets killed. You don't want to be the martyr. And you sure as hell don't want to be the middleman. So train and teach the people in your lives through coaching, through being a coach, how to rescue themselves, how to create a better solution with their challenger to ensure that what they have in their life is a better opportunity than what you have offered them when you rescued them as a victim. So, thank you for listening, everyone. If you've got any questions, you've got any ideas, any comments, please leave them below. I love to hear from you guys. If you haven't followed, please subscribe to this channel and please like, because that really helps me and the algorithms and the magical background of YouTube to fix things for me. And you can follow me on Instagram at Law, which is L-A-U, Attraction. You can find me on Facebook under Law of Attraction Life Coaching, and you can also send me an email. All the details are in the About box underneath this, but please get in touch. I love to hear from you all. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I have an event coming up next week, which is the 14th of March. That is based in Bristol in Fish Ponds. I'd love to see you all. Take care, have a good day, and I'll leave links below for everything I've talked about. Love you all. Thank you for watching. Be good and goodbye.